All right, y'all. Welcome to the first call on Uncomplication School. Um, this is a class of one, but we're starting from the beginning. My co-founder at Community Funded, McCabe, used to say everything starts from one and grows from there. So this is me starting from one, but I thought it might be fun to document this whole evolution and share a little bit of my thought process. Now, admittedly, I am not I am not the most organized or motivated a lot of the time. I'm really good at being creative. I'm really good if there's a skeleton and I can add meat to the bones. I love working in teams for that reason. When it's just me as the source of generation, it can feel like there's a bajillion different ideas, and narrowing in and focusing can be really hard. But I'm going to try and do that. So I'm using a tool here on my Mac. It's called MindNode. This is a tool that I absolutely love. I used to use it a ton. If I go into, let's just see. So this is when I was doing some work with my friend um, Derek. And so just meeting to meeting, I would start these little mind nodes, and it just allowed me to keep track of each conversation and the flow. And I've done this for a long time. I did this when I was running my company, Community Funded, and this helped me organize the business. It helped me organize design that I needed to do, daily tasks, all those things. So I'm gonna kind of walk you through how I approach this, and we're gonna be doing it with a live example because I do believe that school could be an amazing place to bring together a community around like-minded concepts. I want to figure out what those concepts are. I feel like I have a lot to teach, a lot to give back at this point in my life and career and philosophy, etc. So what I like to do with these mind nodes is give it something title, some kind of a title. Usually it's the date or something that'll help me remember what this is about. But I always like to start with the objective. This helps me, and if I'm in a meeting with other people, it helps me just get clear on what are we doing here. And so the objective, I think, is one, just to pop the cherry, as it were. Just post something, get something going, get some action happening, and that's what this is. The second part is I want to map possibilities. I want to generate some ideas. Ideas for what this community can be about. So there are so many different interests I have. Those interests come and go so quickly, but there's some common thread, I think, that links everything together. And I want to be able to see the big picture, see the forest, and then be able to zoom down and get really clear about a specific topic or niche or focus that can orient the rest of my activities. So I want to map the possibilities. I want to maybe rate or score the best ones. And I want to create a plan for vetting my favorites. Okay, so that's what we're doing here. And I don't like to overcomplicate it. I mean, I could put a million things, there's a million objectives, but for right now, that's what we're doing. So the other cool thing about MindNode, this could be a sales pitch for MindNode, but I can just turn this into a checklist. So pop the cherry, we've already done it. We're here, showing up is half the battle. So my next part here, map the possibilities. So I'm gonna drag this over here just to kind of get out of my way. And I want to just start ideating. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set a timer. This is part of a design sprint mentality. We're gonna do this for 8 minutes. I call these crazy eights. And it's just come up with as many ideas as you can in 8 minutes. And here we go, just off the cuff here. So let's see. First of all, I'm gonna put this into a couple categories: life, business, I'm going to say spirituality. And I'm going to say, I would say like hobbies, but more, I think art is its own sphere. So with life, what could I talk about here? Well, I'm just going to say philosophy. That's a big umbrella. Philosophy. And that, that includes Taoism, that includes Buddhism, that includes creative mythology, my own story. I know there's typos here, but that's not the point. Okay, so then the other part is relationships. I went through a bunch of stuff with my partner in the last couple of years. And so I'm going to just type, honestly, like open relationships. What it was like going from 13 years of a closed relationship to an open one. Relationships. Yeah, I think that could also be with yourself, myself. And that could be, overcoming shame. That could be self-love and acceptance. That could be owning what you want and going for it. That could be existential kink. With yourself. Okay, let's just, before I go too deep in any one of these business, so I think one thing I've thought about is a founder recovery school. Because I was a founder, I ran a business for 10 years, and I learned so much about myself, and it was really, really hard when I was on the other side of that. It did not go the way that I expected, and it's taken about 4 years for me to go through a lot of the recovery that has led me to believe again and breathe again and be on my feet again. I think, design is a huge part. Design and design process. I'm an expert at design sprints and product design and testing and user-generated, human-centered design and user testing, etc. So that's a huge part. Founder recovery school. I think there's also just like the work-life balance, specifically for entrepreneurs. I never spelled that word right. I think there's sort of like a mindset that is different than a lot of what I see on Instagram and other places. Like there's this sort of stoic, you got to push the boulder up the hill, you got to show up, you got to be dedicated and put everything aside so you can focus on a business. And that kind of happens naturally. I don't know that it has to in that way. I think that a lot of people end up with businesses they don't want because they get on a track that seems like the right thing to do, and they're pushing so hard. I mean, I've done this. I have pushed so hard that the real opportunities were right there, friendly trying to invite themselves in, and I was too busy focused on my on what I thought I should be doing. Go. So I'm going to say like a gentle approach, manifesting, being open to opportunity, and putting, I'm going to say joy first, bliss. There's a saying from Joseph Campbell, follow your bliss, that he got from a Sanskrit, Sat Chit Ananda. Those are the 3 things you need for enlightenment. And one is like pure being. And Joseph Campbell's like, I'm not really sure what that is. One was like pure mind. And he's like, I'm not sure what that is. And one was pure bliss. And he's like, well, I know what my bliss is. So I'm going to follow my bliss and it'll bring me the other 2. And he said it did. I don't like templated step-by-step business models. I think there's so much of that out there where people like find a hack or they find a way to sell something through Amazon drop shipping or Google ads or Facebook ads, and then they turn around and they make their money trying to sell other people like how they made money. But really, what their business is convincing other people are going to make money for them. And those, I think, just create a lot of cookie cutter waste. I don't think it comes from someone's heart center. I mean, everyone's motivated by money on some level, but if money's the only motivation, then that sucks. So motivation, let's just say that. Spirituality, I kind of got into this with like the philosophy. Let's just move that over there. I guess the two are a little bit different, but I'm going to say also here, this is like, is there a difference between life and spirituality? I don't know, because like a lot of this stuff, like the self-knowledge, the self-love. So let's put this back over here. Let's just make this life. I don't see a difference. If you're living, why not make it spiritual? Okay, art. I love creativity, and I love helping people unlock creative process. Let's just say that. Flow state, helping people get out of their own heads, helping myself get out of my own head. That's a lot of what I've done in the last couple of years is step into this place where I am a creator, I am an artist, I have these methods and processes that have helped me overcome the perfectionist. Creative process. This is really interesting. See, when I start to map these things out, I thought that art was like this huge, big space. Obviously I sell art, I make art, I paint art, but as far as bringing people into community around me, maybe there's a message and meaning that I can talk about and share, but that all seems to come with other elements. That's like taking all of these nodes and turning it into an image or a concept. So this is helpful. I was thinking at one point, like maybe this is a community for artists, art, business, making it work. But to be honest, I patch my month together with all different types of projects, all different types of workshops. Okay, so there's my timer. I set that to limit myself. So I went a little bit deeper than maybe I intended. But here's what I'm going to do now. So we're gonna map the possibilities, and I'm just going to check that. Okay, so obviously this is not an exhaustive list. I could go so much deeper into this, but now I'm going to rate and score the best ones. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go down this list, and I'm going to embolden the ones that actually make me feel something. So I'm going to, I know this might be a little woo-woo, but I'm going to put my feet flat on the ground. I'm going to take a moment to just kind of come into my body and wake up this part. I mean, this part does so much of the lifting and the working and the processing, but this is the part where my best art comes from, my best ideas come from, is the heart mind, the center. And so I'm just going to take a moment to kind of stop this, and then I'm going to go down the list, and I'm going to look for the things that actually have a charge, make me feel something here. Okay, this is not rocket surgery, but what kind of emerged here? This is like a real quick and dirty design process. I'm making it up on the fly, but here's what I've got. I'm going to create a new main node. I'm going to say the core. And I've got, if I kind of follow the track, it's the relationship with self. It's putting, I'm going to say bliss first. Actually, I'm just going to make it the Joseph Campbell line. Follow your bliss. And the last one is Founder Recovery School. That's interesting. That's not really what I expected, but I feel like that touches so much, and the reason why I like it is because founders are entrepreneurs. They're an interesting breed of people. They are some of my favorite people. Someone who actually says, you know what, I'm going to leave the easy path of getting a job, working for someone else's bottom line, getting that steady paycheck, getting benefits, et cetera, and instead I'm going to take the left-hand path, and I'm going to let what I care about, at least in the beginning, move me in a direction. That already opens up the box to everything else that's on here. Motivation, being open to opportunity, creative flow states, creating the messaging and the meaning, the philosophy that drives it. I know a lot of, I know several people that are stoic by nature, which is an interesting mindset. I've tested that a little bit. I think I have some reflections. I think the other thing that I like about this is that nowhere on here is it talking about crypto. I've got a YouTube channel with 150,000 subscribers that have, I feel, kind of turned on me in the last couple years because I came to crypto with a ravenous belief in it, because I was in my recovery stage as a founder who had spent 10 years of his life really trying to make the world a better place through a business, through a platform, through a movement, an actual movement, through a shift in how we as communities use our resources more effectively. And so my appeal to the crypto audience, I think, came from that passion and spark. But when I lost it, because crypto is garbage, it's a big vacuum for a lot of that passion and energy. It's a quagmire. It is a place to, I think, externalize what properly should be an internal fire. And it's a scam. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch a school around this. And I'm going to bring in some of the people that I know that are founders, and start creating content and start having these conversations and start inviting other people and just see what happens. And if there's, a, I'm just going to say pitch or a value prop. Let's say value prop. I think this is for all of the people that are coming to start their own business. Maybe this is for, okay, so let's just start value prop. Who is it for? And it is for, I'm going to say founders and entrepreneurs who have lost part of themselves in the birth process, in the battle. We'll just call it that. Okay, what can I offer? So I can offer perspective. I mean, everyone has perspective, but I think I have a unique perspective based on what I did, how I did it, where I am now, and the almost stubborn, um, I would say it's a stubbornness to stick so strongly to the core of who I am that I refused to make compromises that compromise something deep down. I don't know if that makes sense, but there's waypoints in the path where things are presented to us, where maybe money is a possibility, or moving into an exciting new space. There's an allure and a shine, and that can get us off our center. And before long, you can find yourself 5, 10 years down the road in a completely different direction than when you started out. And so I think that is something that I've come to learn, that there are tools and mindsets that are incredibly valuable to not lose your soul along the way. I can offer just advice, straight up advice, and coaching. That's those who cannot do teach. I think I tried, I did, I failed in some ways, I succeeded in others. And you know what? I don't know if I even like the word coaching. I think it's more like an active collaboration. Yeah, we'll just say that. But it's also like a design process, like this one that I'm doing here. And it works, because like an hour ago, I was sitting here like, I know I want to launch a school. I have all of these talents. I have an audience of, over 100,000 people that I could tap into, but they all want to talk about crypto. I've got an art business. I've got all of these things, but who am I? What am I actually doing? I am, I'm a founder, and I'm a creative. So founders and creatives. Yeah, it's like a creative recovery. And I think a lot of my the people that I want to talk to are ones who have tried. The ones who have tried. Who is this for? The ones who have tried. Or are trying. To bring their gifts to the world. And this is so cool, because already there's so much that unfolds, because I can see the places where I let fear drive, and it was a fear of failure. It was a fear of not being able to do it the way that I knew it should be done, taking bad advice, oh God, and this is where I can share a lot of my story too, because there were so many people that came into our idea that me and my co-founders started, and they changed it. They morphed it into something that would make them money, which makes sense. I mean, that's what we're asking them for. You give us your investment, we'll give you back a return on that investment. And in that process, we filled our boat with these different voices, these different I don't know, not just personalities, but also different goals, different objectives, different outcomes. And it's a long story. I think I'm going to wrap it up there. So let's check back in with our overall objective. Okay, rate, score the best ones. Create a plan for vetting my favorites. So I think instead of vetting my favorites, I think it's for vetting my idea. I think I'm going to send a couple invites with personal messages to people who are founders themselves. And I'm going to just continue to create content here and see what happens. And this was the first little call. This is the genesis of everything. Like McCabe used to say, it all starts from one and grows from there. So maybe next time there'll be more than one. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. And thanks for tuning in. And until next time, cheers.